Okay, so I things have got went a little different today. As many of you know, I have had this Zoom discussion scheduled, and I had like about 17 official registrants, but I don't know what happened, but they did not appear. So, I was just talking to my sister from another mister, who those of you who have read the book know who I'm talking about, and she did it. She did show up, and she and I were talking about it, and I said, you know what? I'm going to do this anyway. I'm just gonna I'm going to do what I said I was going to do. I'm still going to do that. Like, why not? So what I did, I have decided that obviously, since this will not, it's no longer a discussion, it is just a presentation. That is what you're going to get. You're going to get a presentation of my method to the magic model and how I basically use my book. Used my book as the template for not only how I manage my personal life, but how I use it actually to effectuate my business model, my good to great innovative solutions business model. And in terms of working smarter, not harder, because I talk about that, I say that a lot. If you go on my website, you see it's like work smarter, not harder, right? And so I decided that, you know what, I'm going to just have a little meeting with a presentation to myself that that I am affectionately sharing with you all, and hopefully you will enjoy what you see. And then you can just send me a message, and if you have any questions or things like that, and I'm happy to do that. You just reach out to me and I will get back to you. So now, the first thing that I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about my like how I came up with this whole, the method to the magic and everything. So those who have read my book, I keep dropping those hints because you should get the book. Okay. But there's a popular metaphorical expression, think outside the box. Think outside the box. And I'm like, and when I started thinking about that, it's like, I think that expression is kind of ridiculous because, and I'm going to tell you why. Because you think about boxes, exhibit A, box, exhibit A, and boxes are restricting. They have all these sides. This happens to be a tissue box, so there's a little bit of an opening, but work with me here, right? So it's this popular expression which is used to basically it's this popular metaphorical expression that is used to encourage people to think differently, unconventionally, and things like that, right? But when you think about a box, boxes are very restricting. They have these sides, they have all these bases and everything. So if you are inside of a box, the first thing you are unable to do inside of a box is breathe. You cannot even breathe inside of a box. And if you're unable to breathe, you can't think. So how are you supposed to think outside of a box if you're unable to even think inside of a box? Doesn't make any sense. So my philosophy is, why don't you just get rid of the box? Hello lights, like, get rid of the box. And so you get rid of the box, and then you are free to just think. It's easier. Just get rid of the box. So that's where the whole hashtag no more boxes, and that is the big picture premise behind the method to the magic. Just get rid of the box so that you can just think, right? And then that's how the 12 lessons in my book, that's how that's what they're all about. It's getting rid of the box and just thinking, because when you're in this box, you can't think, you can't breathe, and you just end up doing too much. And because you're doing too much, you're doing so much, and then nothing is getting done, right? And so that's what the premise is behind that. Now, I shared recently with you all that I was going to share a story with you, and I am, about the day that I had the seizure in my office at work. This is when I was still employed, and else someplace else, which shall remain nameless. But I was there, and what happened was that lesson 8 of my book is entitled "You Will Never Get Caught Up." Right? It's like, oh, I'm trying to catch up. Oh, I'm trying to get catch up. I'm trying to catch up. And you guys, that's what happened to me. I was working myself to death. I literally worked, and this is just those close to me know, I was working 80 hours a week, easily 80 hours a week. Wasn't getting paid for 80 hours a week because I was a salaried employee, but I was working 80 hours a week, right? And and I was killing myself. And I was doing that because I was trying to get caught up, trying to get caught up. I gotta catch up. I gotta catch up. I gotta my daughter used to, like, I would be up and, like, I would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm a natural early riser anyway. And so I would get up 5 o'clock in the morning, start working, start working, start working. And this is before I even got dressed to go to work. I'd be up working. I gotta catch up. I gotta catch up. I gotta catch up. I gotta catch up. Then I'd go to work, and then I'd grind, 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 skip lunch, skip everything, just grind, grind, grind. And then I would get home, grind, 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 work some more, grind, grind, grind. And I would be up until, like, this ridiculous. I can remember one night my daughter awakened at like 2 o'clock in the morning, and she found me at my desk. And she was like, "Mommy, what are you doing?" I said, "I'm trying to get caught up. I'm trying to get caught up. I'm trying to get caught up." You guys, I would work when I was sick. I would work when I was on vacation. I would, like, at a holiday. I worked all the time trying to get caught up. So one day I was at work, and I had got to there. It was only like around 9:30 in the morning when I got there. It was like 9:30 in the morning, 9:30, quarter to 10. And I was, on my way to the ladies' room, and just constantly moving. I gotta get caught up. I gotta get caught up. I gotta get caught up. Right. And come return for, and I was talking to the receptionist, and that was the last thing I remembered. The next thing I knew, I awakened, and there were paramedics standing over me. And they were like, and it was like, and they said, "You had a seizure." I'm like, "I don't have seizures. Like, what is that?" And so I have a medical condition, but having seizures is not one of the conditions of it, right? And so I'm like, "I don't have seizure." I'm like, "I never had a seizure in my life." And it was just, and so it was crazy. So they take me to the hospital. They strap me up. Put me in an ambulance. First time I ever been in an ambulance. Took me to the by ambulance to the hospital, and hooked me up to all of this ridiculous things. And even when they called my neurologist, they're like, "I had a seizure. Like, she doesn't have seizures and everything." And they could not understand why I had this seizure. To this day, that was on May 10th, 2017. To this day, they have no idea why I had that seizure. But someone from my church had said to me, she was like, "Demetra, that was just maybe God's way of trying to seize some stuff in your life." And I'm like, "Now that makes sense." That makes sense. And that was the first stage of the reinvention of me. I didn't quite learn my lesson in that. And then I went back to working like a ridiculous person again. And it took a second health scare is when I finally said, "This is ridiculous. Like, I'm going to choose life over death." And that getting caught up, and I tell people, you will never get caught up. That is ridiculous. You will never get caught up because there's always going to be something to do. There's always going to be something else to do. So stop, erase that, stop trying to get caught up thing. So that was lesson 8. So that's the seizure story. And that was the health scare that I had. I had a seizure and walked out, was in that hospital for 3 days, hooked up to everything. Stuff they did tests on me. I didn't even know, I never even heard of that stuff. It was crazy. And it was a scary, scary thing. And my daughter was scared. My family, everybody was just scared. It was a very, very scary time. So, but I walked out of that hospital and I was like, "Oh no, I won't be coming back up in here." And that was the whole thing. So when I say lesson 8, that's why I say you will never get caught up. And that's that expression, y'all got to get caught. That's that box mentality. You know, like, oh, I gotta get caught up. I gotta get caught up. And I know as I'm saying this, you're all like, yeah, I say that all the time. It's ridiculous, right? Stop trying to do that. You will never get caught up, right? And what I do now when I talk to people, when I coach, talk to, professionals and things like that, it's like, stop putting that. That's ridiculous. If you have people working that hard, you need to hire more people, because that no one should be multi. That's just, it's just ridiculous, and you're killing people. So if you are that manager, that is like, shame on you. Cut it out, right? So that's the story that I promised that I would share with you all about the day that I had the seizure, and it was a really, really scary thing. And so, all of the lessons in my, like, these are my lessons. These are lessons that I learned. These are not things that I saw read somewhere. And when my friend, when she had said to me, like, Demetri, you should really write a book. You should really write a book. My book is only 35 pages for a reason, because it doesn't take all that. Like, here, this is what it is, right? Trusting yourself to be the expert. That's lesson one. Trust yourself. Trust yourself to be the expert. And, there a lot of that. What I've learned is that a lot of people don't trust themselves. It's like you have those micromanaging bosses. If you're one of those, shame on you. But that's where that comes from, where people don't have permission to trust themselves. Because it's like, okay, well, you got to check, you got to get a second opinion, you got to get somebody to look at it. No, you don't. If it's right, it's right. You have to trust that you know what you know. And as long as you trust it, everyone else will just get in where they fit in. And if they don't fit, then to the left, just get rid of them people, because they're annoying. Trust yourself. I and that's where that happens. And that's, titles. People have these titles, and they become. My pastor once said, when you allow your title to become who you are, then who you are becomes inefficient and obnoxious. I call it INO. You really do. And you're driving the people around you crazy. Cut it out. And they, because there's room, like, everybody. If you're going to sit there and if you're going to micromanage people and you're going to do whatever, then what? Then you don't need them. When I was in management, when one of my team members would come into my office, and they knew I had a very different thing. Don't come in here asking me before you come in here, you need to bring me, what did you try? What did you try? Tell me what you've already done that doesn't work. Because if every time you have a problem, if you have to come in here, and if I have to solve every problem, then I don't need you here. So tell me what you did first. What have you tried? What do you know doesn't work? Right? And it's like, and give people permission to trust themselves. It's because you'll build people up that way. If you let them trust themselves. Trust yourself. I sit on the board of a nonprofit. I'm the treasurer of a board for a nonprofit in Trenton, New Jersey. And the director, I had to really push him with that, because he would say, I can remember one time we were on a call, and he said, and I gave him a suggestion about something, and he said, okay, so I'm going to try that, and then I'll send it. That, and it was, I said, I don't want to see it till you're done. Don't send that to me until you are done. Once you're done, then I'll look at it. But don't do that. Do you know what you're doing? And he said, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I said, do you trust that you know what you're doing? And I said, yeah. I said, okay, so then give me a trusted product when you're finished, right? And I feel that if people would get that under their belt, it would really help a lot of people. Everyone has a spot. Stay in your lane. Stop micromanaging people. Stop feeling like it's ridiculous and you're annoying. Those are some, but it's like, I talk about these things in my book because I know that they work. I had a great team. I really, really did, because I tell people, trust yourself. You know what you're doing, right? Another, there's different. There's so many. Listening. A lot of people just, they're terrible listeners. Because you want to know why? They don't, because listen, I tell people, you listen to learn, but that's not what people do. Most people listen to agree or disagree. It's like, okay, do I agree with what you're saying? And and that's what it is. It's like, just close your mouth and listen. Listen to learn. And you will learn something, from everybody. Listen to learn. I will listen to. There is this this I ran into this man one day, and and he was, and you could tell that he was like a little like mentally challenged. I still listened to him, and I learned something from him. Close your mouth and just listen. Listen to learn. Listen to the people around you. Listen to your kids. Listen to your coworkers. Listen to your direct reports. Like, listen to people, because if they're the ones who are doing the thing, you will learn something. You don't know everything, and you don't want to know everything. Why do you want to know everything? I don't know everything. I want to know what I know. And people will, people know that that I have a finance degree, and they'll reach out to me, and they'll ask me certain, because they know my background, and they will ask me certain questions. They'll say, oh, well, Demetra, I have a question. I said, I don't do that. I don't do that. I'm not doing that. Ask me about taxes. I don't do tax return. I do my taxes. I'm not doing nobody else's taxes. I don't want to do taxes. But I can give you somebody who does. There's, let like just but the listening thing. Listen to learn. You can learn from so many people. You can learn from everybody, right? The why didn't you know? Let me tell you, this is for the kids. Because I know there's some kids listening to this. I know there were some kids that were going to watch this with their parents. That's why this one's for you, babies. This is for y'all. Why didn't you know? Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know I was supposed to do that. Well, why didn't you know? My daughter, I use the example in my book about my daughter would say to me, I didn't know that assignment was due. I'm like, why didn't you know? Every assignment's due. Did you ask? Did you ask the teacher when the assignment is due? What you think y'all just sitting there doing jigsaw puzzle? Did you ask them when the assignment? Because every assignment is due. Everything. Why didn't you know? People would come into my office, and they didn't know that the policy. They didn't know what a certain policy said. I didn't know that was really. Why didn't you know? Because it's in the handbook that you signed, that you said you received. Like, you signed a form. There's a form in your personnel file that said that you understood that it was your responsibility to understand this thing, and that's what you were supposed to do. So if you knew that, then that's what you should have done. That's what you should have done, right? So no, there is no, 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 no. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. Okay, so it's like, well, why didn't you know? Why didn't you know? It's not, because more often than not, the reason you didn't know is you. You're the reason you didn't know. You didn't read. You didn't follow the instructions. You didn't do. There's something that you didn't do is the reason why you didn't know, and that's the way that story goes, right? And that's it. And so little things like that. It's just, stop blaming. Get rid of the boxes, because the person, you're the one that's in the box. I'm not going to be in my box, and I'm not going to be in anyone else's box either. I'm just not. I'm not going to be in my box or your box or anybody else's box. Stop keeping so get rid of these boxes, and and stop putting the people around you in boxes too, and just let people breathe and be free and whatever. And that's a lot of what's this country has been in a box. Okay, so we got rid of that box last week. But I'm just saying, we've just been in a box. It's just like, what is it? That is just ridiculous, right? Um, the shortest distance between 2 points is just a straight line. So many times it's like we come up with all of these things. It's like, we gotta do this, we gotta do that, and we gotta do with everything. It's like, just go straight. Get rid of all of these, all these unnecessary hurdles that you put in the way, and just go straight. Just go straight. That's the shortest distance. Go straight. you know. But that's, again, that's where titles and things like that come into play, because it's like move out of the way so people can just go straight so we can get this stuff done. That's what you do, right? You have the there should always be small victories to celebrate along the way. We all have goals. Everybody has goals. At least you should. I hope so. Everyone has goals. But but break them down into small, manageable, like easily attainable, so you can have little victories to celebrate along the way. Because if you have a lot of like victories to celebrate along the way, they'll push you to go higher. I use the example in my book about how I had a friend she was trying to lose, like, I don't know, it was a lot of weight. And I said to her, I said, that's too much weight to think about it once. I think she was trying to lose like 100 pounds. And I'm like, why? Why don't you just lose 10 pounds at a time? Anybody can lose 10 pounds. And then once you lose that 10 pounds, move on to the next 10 pounds. And then go to the next 10 pounds. And then the next 10 pounds. And that's what you do. And that's what you do. And then, and eventually that 100 pounds will be done. It's like you have a goal, break it down. And even and that's for anything in your personal life, your professional life, anything. The could take the limits off of people when you do that. Because when you put these big giant, oh my gosh, I'm going to do this. And then it's like that thing, that is just too big. Break it down into small pieces that you could just do one thing at a time. And that's what it is. So those are the complaining. Jesus Lord. My friend is making me a shirt that says that, because I say it all the time. Because complaining is not a strategy. Some people are expert complainers. They just complain about everything. It's like, that's not a solution. That's not a strategy, right? You just complaining. Okay. Because once you've done complaining, that very thing that you're complaining about, it's still going to be there, waiting for you to be quiet. I mean, complaining is not a strategy. It's not a strategy. Okay. And so those are just some examples and these are lessons and whenever I say that these are lessons that I learned, I mean that I went through some stuff to arrive at this lesson. Somebody, nobody had, I had to go through some stuff to learn that. Why didn't you know? I had to go through that. Well, why didn't I know that? And I check myself against them all the time. It's okay. Why didn't I know that? I should have known that. I should have known that. I should have known better. If I didn't know that, I know this or something. But it's like, I should have known. Why didn't I know? And so when I talk about these are lessons that I learned, I mean that literally learned them. I didn't make it through this 52-year journey of my life and everything. Like, I'm telling you, I got oops upside my head a lot, but I learned the lessons. And I'm not going to, and I'm not going to keep going around beating around the same bush and everything. That's fine. I learned my lesson. I learned these lessons and I'm sharing them with you all because I really, really believe them and I live them every day. I test myself against them all the time. I check myself against them all the time. All the time. I kept my book, like, you know what I mean? Like I have my book. Yes, I bought my own book. It's mine. I bought my own book. I bought a book. I didn't have to, but I did. If I'm going to ask other people, I'm going to ask somebody to do something for me that I'm not doing for myself. That's something a lot of people do too. I have the Kindle edition. I got the like and everything, and I bought it, and I read it all the time. I read it all the time. Have your kids read it. Just everything, especially the kids. I really feel like it can help, especially our school age kids, and I feel like it'll really help them and help them go higher. I believe that. And that's and then all I do is win. I don't believe in winning and losing. I believe in winning and learning. Sometimes you win and sometimes you learn. And if you are learning something in it, then that's a win. If you learn something, then you won something. So that's why I say all I do is win. I'm not going, so that's what this is. That's my business model. G to G, Let's see my logo. G to G, the G to G stands for good to great. Take your good enough and turn it to great. G to G innovative solutions. And that's what I do, and it's just, and just trying to just showing people just work smarter. Some of y'all just working working hard for nothing. It's just ridiculous. Put some boundaries up. Boundaries, right? And that's how you'll take your good enough and turn it to great. Boundaries. Celebrate your small victories along the way. Take ownership of the stuff that you know what you know. Trust yourself to be the expert and give the people around you permission to do the same. And if you're that micromanager that gets on everybody's nerves, stop it. It's annoying. And it's not even necessary, right? And so that's this was going to be like a discussion, a presentation discussion, and I was going to open the floor for people to ask questions. See, this was that opportunity where y'all would have got me for free. Those of you who registered, who are watching the recording and everything. So you were going to get for free what other people will only get for a fee. So y'all messed up. That's what you get. You should have showed up. Should have been on time. So, but that is, but I love what I do. I really, really do. I wouldn't be doing this, and I'm not going back. I have just been trusting myself to be the expert. I am just so excited about the fact that right, Christmas Eve, I received my official certification from the state of New Jersey as a small business enterprise. And then the day after Inauguration Day, I received a certification from the state as a minority and woman controlled owned business enterprise, which was really a pop my collar. So I'm not going back. So you guys stop sending me job descriptions. Like, I get people that's like, oh, Demetri, you'd be so good at this job. I said, I mean, I'll do the job, but not as someone's employee. Who do I need to talk to? Because honestly, what I found a lot of people do, they don't even know what they're looking for. They don't know what they're looking for. That's like, oh, we're hiring this person, everything. It's like, but do you really need that? Why do you need that? I'll give you guys an example. I was on this site, and people said to me, "You're so stupid. You should just." But it's like, but the man, he was looking for. I wasn't gonna do it because I'm like, I'm not gonna be. I don't want to be anybody's bookkeeper. But I saw this posting, and he was looking for like a part-time bookkeeper, right? And so I just reached out to the man, and I said to him, I said, why do you need because it was a small business. And I said, why do you need a bookkeeper? Why do you need one? What do you need the bookkeeper to do? And so, and he went through this whole, da 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 da, I need it for this, whatever. And I said, why can't you just do it yourself? That sounds like something you could just do yourself if you just learn how to do it yourself. It's not hard. Just take the time. The time that you are investing looking for a bookkeeper, and then you got to bring them in and everything. All you have to do is just spend an hour a day. You could do that yourself. And so I set up like a little thing for him and just created this little workbook for him in Excel and everything. And that man is doing his own books. It's like, please. So just slow down, slow down. And so that's that innovative solutions that I do. It's like, that's ridiculous. You don't need a bookkeeper. You just need to go to class. You need to go to a class. That's what you need. You need a bookkeeper. I'm being lazy. So, but that's what it is, and so I hope that this helps. And you guys reach out to me if you feel like I can help you in any way. Right now, I am working on a program for, well, I'm not going to tell you, you'll know whenever you see it, right? But next time, show up, be on time. When I schedule something and invite you to something. All right. And thank you for your time. So I hope that this is my first time doing one this way, and I'm trying to put it on YouTube, my YouTube channel live. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but we'll see. But I'm going to end it now. And thank you guys for your time. Enjoy, subscribe, like, share, and holla at your girl.